Good morning, everyone. It's Amy, and I was just doing some stencils this morning. So I just thought that I'd go ahead and bring you along for one real quick. I'm going to do these dragonflies, and when I drew them out, I just sit at night and just like sketch something out that I want to cut. And when I do them out, they're really too big to fit on my paper. I don't, they can't come this close to the edge. So I have decided that I'm going to do these 5 and very possibly put this little one, up in here somewhere, depending on what it looks like when I'm done. But so what I've done is I'm going to have my form up here, and this is just one of the plastic dividers that you put in notebooks. I got them 10 for $1 at the Dollar Tree, and I also got some at Walmart. I think they were like on sale for 47 cents. I didn't know that when I got them, or I would have got more. But what I'm going to do is I folded my paper up to where I want my plastic to sit. And so I'm going to put that right on. I have a piece of glass here, and I'm just going to line this up, tape it down, and you can just put it underneath your glass, but a lot of times I find that I want to pick up my glass and turn it to make it easier to do the cutting. And so I always tape it down so that I don't have to try and line it back up if I want to turn my page. All right, now I'm going to, whoops, there's a piece of a leaf I cut earlier. I'm going to line this up. This also has the holes for a 3-ring binder, which I find really cool, and that's what I'm doing now, is sticking them in a 3-ring binder, because stencils are a pain in the butt to store. Take a long piece of tape and cover up that tab so you don't catch it when you're cutting. And I just took masking tape, folded over the end so it'd be easy to peel off, and I just used them over and over again. The first time when I first take them off the roll, I just put them on my arm and kind of de-stick them a little bit. If you have like painter's tape, it probably wouldn't be so sticky, but this masking tape is just cheapy masking tape, and it was quite sticky. And then I have just a stencil cutter. I do believe you could just also use a wood burner, but the tips, like some wood burners come with a little knife, and I think that would work. I only have big fat tips, and they just didn't work well. This stencil cutter has just a little teeny tiny tip on it, and so it works really well. And basically, you just start and just follow your pattern. If you're off a little bit, it's no big deal. You'll find when you turn it, because you're looking through the glass, my glass is 1/4 inch thick, you will find that when you turn it, that, well, now I can't even pick that out of there, that you're probably not on the lines exactly where you thought you were if you turn it. But it really doesn't matter. It all comes out great in the end. And you just want to make sure things like when you're coming back to your points, stop at the point, don't cross over. If you pass that point and you think, oh, there's just a little line there, and normally this is not this hard, it doesn't usually stick like that, but if you cross over and there's just a little line, you think, oh, that won't show, it does. I learned that in the beginning. So you do have to stop your lines together. Sometimes I won't start on a point. I'll start like part way up and then do it, so that I know I'm not going to cross over on that point, and then just follow up and get it on the side. So that way I can get my nice point without crossing over. Now, I did some where I went into my computer on Microsoft Paint and just did some circles and some squares and that type of thing when I first started. But now I'm really I'm liking these just kind of organic shapes. They don't need to be perfect. I don't really even want them to be, like necessarily perfect. If you get a little plastic on your tip, this is just my cutting board and I'm trying to get it off. If you have a little piece of wet paper towel, that works really well to just give it a quick wipe. It works so easy with the stencil cutter. I've done them cutting them by hand before with a knife, and didn't like it. It just took too long, and you tended to like cross over a little bit, or you slip a little bit. This is just so easy. It's just like drawing. It's just like drawing that on there really quick. And I really don't, I mean, I do have the drawing on here to basically give me where I want everything, what size it's to be, give me the basic shape. But it doesn't have to be exactly like that. And so if I go off the lines, or if I'm looking at it and I think, oh, I wish those wings were a little fatter, I just make them a little fatter. If I think, oh, I wish it was a little skinnier, I just make it a little skinnier. And if my lines get a little bit not perfectly straight, that's totally okay with me, because then it looks hand-drawn, and I want it to look hand-drawn. I know that I could, as a matter of fact, I think I probably have Dragonflies from the store, a Dragonfly Stencil. See, now, I need to turn this because that's just not a good angle for me. It always does better when you're pulling it towards you than pushing it away from you. Sometimes when you're pushing it away from you, and it's very staticky, sometimes when you're pushing it away from you, it wants to lift a little bit. The plastic doesn't. So then, whoops, and see, I just messed that up. So that's okay. I'm going to come up here, and I'm just going to make it a little fatter to get rid of that mess up. Now it's gone. So yeah, it's just that simple. And like I said, if you have a wood burner, that works well. Now, I have never cut this. I believe that it was Eileen McInnes that I saw do this on this type of plastic. And these little liner things are so thin. You can get really thick ones, but these are just really thin, especially the cheaper ones you buy, the thinner they're going to be. So, if you do, I haven't tried cutting these with a knife yet, but if you don't have a wood burner or a stencil cutter, which is basically just a wood burner with two little fine tips instead of all the other tips, you could try it with a craft knife, and it would be the same thing. Just draw out something organic that you decide that you want, and then just kind of trace around it on top of the glass. And you could use glass from a picture frame, but just be careful because it's really thin. Oh, come on out of there. Okay, now right here I kind of crossed over, so I'm just going to fix that a little bit, and there we go. One left to do. I hope it's in frame. And I have to hurry because that was Papa ringing his bell. He's just getting up. And so that's all there is to it. It's really been fun, and I just keep making more and more and more. I keep thinking, oh, I think I would like to make this, or I would like to make that. And like I said, I think I even have Dragonflies from the store, but I wanted to make my own. So here they are. And then once I do this, I use some white paint and just go through it to see how it looks. If you need to clean something up, if you think I really don't like that, you can clean it up. It's easier just to leave it the way it is unless you really don't like it. Sometimes when you try and clean it up, you actually make almost more of a mess than what you started with, because that is so hot, this is so thin, that, you're trying to do something, a little something here or there, and it melts it way more than what you wanted it to. So, but this is my stencil, and after I go take care of Papa, I'll quick come back on here and I will show you some of the stencils I made. I'll show you how this looks with the white paint printed out, and I think that that looks really good. You see, I had a piece of paper here, and now I don't know what I did with it, and that doesn't work. Well, I'll be back to show it to you in just a few minutes. But this is what it looks like. I don't think I am going to add any more here where I thought I might, because that's not really a big enough space and I don't want to get too close to the edge. So I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, so I figured we'd quick get this fixed up before dinner. So I started this morning and we went through cutting the stencil, and then after I cut the stencils, I just go ahead and I just put some paint on my stencils onto a piece of card, and then I put them into a binder. So I'm kind of trying to do this a little bit soft because otherwise the table bounces. I didn't want the video shaking all over the place. But this is just how I do it. And then as soon as I get all of them done so that I can see what they look like, I make any changes if I need to, and then I put a punch in the paper behind here, the 3-hole punch, and then just stick it in my binder. And the paper between each of the stencils makes it so that they don't get stuck to each other, and gives you your pattern right there so you can see what it looks like. Got a chunk of paint right there. Okay. And I just kind of dab off my stencil a little bit, but I don't actually wash my stencils very often unless they get sticky or something. So there is the dragonflies that we did, and this is what they look like. Let me move this back. That's what they look like, and I'm really happy with that. Oops. And I did tape my stencil to my paper so that it wouldn't move when I was stenciling. And now I just line them up at the bottom, use a 3-hole punch, just like that. And now they can go in our book. Whoops. Okay, and I thought I'd quick show you some of the other ones that I did. Now this I did on really thick, this is really, really thick dividers. I don't like this very well. I always thought that it needed to be thicker to be like strong or whatever, but the thicker they are, the harder it is to stencil. So, but these are the stencils that I've made in the last week or so. I've got some buttons here that I did, and I did this group, and then I just did the individual ones. These circles and the ovals I got off of the computer, along with these stars and these. And I put this paper on upside down. I should have tipped it the other way so they're not actually lining up, but that's what they look like when you stencil them. And then I made these flowers, and that's what they look like after you do them. And why I have green paper, I don't know. Well, yes I do. It was right after Christmas and the green paper was sitting there, and that's what I grabbed. And once I start something, I have to use the same one. So these are, I'm working on some Dandelion Puffs. I still don't have those quite the way that I want them. Now this is the sheet from Walmart, and it's bigger than the sheets from the Dollar Tree. The Dollar Tree are exactly the same size as your paper. The others are a little bigger, so I kind of like that better. Those are some clouds that I did, which I also got off of the computer. These are some flowers that I made. I saw a flower that Betsy had, that Dee had, Betsy Doodle, and I really liked it, so I kind of copied it a little bit. And this is an image that I got off the computer. Oh, I can't remember whose channel I was watching. It might have been Eileen McInnes's channel, and she gave a where to go find that online. This is a tree that I drew, and that's what that looks like. And then because that was a solid stencil, I kept the actual tree that I cut out. I did cut out the center here because I really liked the way that looked, and it was solid, so I kept that as a mask. I got the arrows and the little, well, they're not hexagons. I got these again off of Microsoft Paint. These are some leaves that I drew. I did these this morning. And then this is a feather. And the feather also, I did the stem, whatever you call that. I did that separate because it would be too hard to try and keep it in the middle. And I was watching Mr. Victor Crafter, I believe his name is, and he had a feather stencil, and it was done like this in the two pieces. So after you stamp the stencil, then you can take the spine, or after you stamp the feather, you can take the spine and put it up the middle and then stamp over that. Probably like if I was going to do the white feather, I'd probably do it in a light gray. And also on this one, I kept the mask for that. And what I did with this, because it was in two pieces, I just put the spine on there, and then, and I do apologize for the light, that didn't help. I put the spine on top of the stencil, and then I just took my heat tool and I just touched it all the way up so that it basically glued them together. So now I also have a feather stencil, or a feather mask, that I can use. So that's that. I don't keep all the little pieces for the others. And then these are just all of the ones I printed the words off the computer. These are my clouds, and they were like speech bubbles, and I just didn't do this part. And there's the tree that I drew. Excuse me. And the flower. And some of the others that I drew. And there's working on my Dandelion Puff, my buttons, the stars I got off the computer. And I'm keeping these in the back just in case. No, I do apologize. Stop. Okay, so Papa's dog barks at nothing, which makes our dog bark because she's barking. Pee-wee and Zeke, stop please. I am so sorry about that. So I am just keeping all of these in the back because then if I love my stencil and something happens to it, I still have the pattern that I used to originally make it. So I'm going to just get a folder, 3-hole punch it, and put these in the folder, and then just attach them into the back of my book here. So, and I might as well put my dragonflies in here. And so that's my binder, and it works really well with the paper between it. You've got your sample there, and that way your stencils don't get stuck together. The hardest part about stencils is storing them because they just love to get like locked together. So that works really well for that. So, and this is just an old used binder that I got at a secondhand store. So thank you all very much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.